everybody, welcome to Off the Rack. I'm Sal.
I'm Tiffany.
And I'm Ben.
Happy Convergence to you. It is the second week of Convergence. Convergence happened last Wednesday, and I'd say it was a roaring success as far as sales go, as far as popularity goes. People are really excited about Convergence, and apparently it's one of the few DC events people are like all across the board, like, okay.
And it seems to be doing a good job.
Yeah. We're going to start up with Convergence number 1, written by Scott Lobdell and Jeff King, with art by Jason Paz and Carlo Pagualian.
Pause like the food coloring egg Easter thing?
Yeah, exactly.
That's pause.
Well, I always said it pause.
Yeah, I said Paz too.
2-1.
I'm leaving.
And Easter's over.
I'm trying to get ahead for next year.
Wow, that's
Very
some pretty far advancement.
Yeah, let us know in the comments below where that reference came from. So, what were our initial impressions of Convergence number 1? This is like the intro title. Jumping on board, what'd you think?
I didn't know. I didn't read Convergence Zero. I listened to them talk about it,
Which is all of you should.
which was helpful. I don't know. As a starting book and not literally knowing anything about this whole thing, I liked it. Like I dug it. I had to ask Sal some questions about what I was looking at essentially.
Right.
But once I
Yeah.
got that, I was like, okay.
Yeah.
I was confused. I was very confused.
But you should have texted Sal.
Who are these people?
Well, like, we started off with the Injustice universe.
Right.
And then...
Is that what that was? I didn't
yeah.
ask you about that. I was just like, whatever.
Well, they
died.
made a whole lot of references to the books with that voice.
Well, I was like, they died. I don't care.
It was Injustice, and then a big hand comes out of the ground, and then we're on a different
And
planet.
then we're elsewhere.
And it's not the Injustice people?
No!
And I'm
It's-
like,
See, now that
okay.
that I didn't question because I understand the basics of what Convergence is. Like,
right.
so I was like, no, that's totally fine that we jumped
Right,
somewhere
but
else.
why did we...
Why did we start with those
Why do we
people?
start with Injustice and seemingly kill everyone?
I assume
Except they didn't. We know they didn't kill everyone because they have to fight.
Well, no, okay, but I assume that they did that to like let you know the stakes.
Right.
You know what I mean? It's like a horror movie where it starts off with someone who like immediately dies,
Yeah.
and then we jump to someone else's storyline. That's important because we need to understand like the gravity of the situation.
Mm-hmm.
But we know that they aren't dead.
Yeah, because we know they're gonna fight.
Well, maybe they're gonna fight.
They have to
Well,
fight.
in Convergence Zero, they told us like all the different universes that were going to be there, and
Right.
Justice was one of them.
Right, and they were there.
Unless they were like,
technically.
it was a bait and switch. They're like, oh, they're there. See?
Yeah, they
and now they're all
technically-
dead.
Technically, they were there.
That would be lame.
That would
No,
be really weird.
no, but that makes sense. Like that technically, especially with what Telos says, that like if they like break any of the rules, essentially.
That's true.
So it's presumably they broke a rule.
Right,
Like
we don't
they
know
were
what
already
the rules
there.
are.
That's if they were there.
They were there because of the hand. The hand
Yeah.
is Telos. Telos is a sentient part of the planet.
Yeah.
All right.
Telos is end of the planet.
I did a little research.
You did. I thought that it was a fine intro. It was a risky move, but a classic DC move to not feature any prime DC characters as your main characters. Like, no real Superman, no real Batman, and our new character Telos, who I'm sure will turn out to be some classic DC villain or hero in
It's
the
the Martian
guise.
Manhunter.
Probably is.
No,
Martian
it isn't.
Manhunter. But you know,
I just like him.
I'm so pissed off.
yeah, I'm always marginalized and no one thinks I'm as cool as I actually am.
I
I have more
do.
powers than Superman. But yeah, so I thought it was a fun issue. What do you guys think of the art?
The art worked really well.
I liked it.
It was good.
I agree.
I liked the art.
Yeah, the art really serves the story very well. I think it really captured a lot of the images from those universes. Like, I really got Injustice from that.
See, I didn't know it was Injustice by the art. I did it simply because
Don't
Superman
say it, it just worked.
Like, and a great injustice was done to me. I
I
was like,
can't believe.
oh, okay.
And
so
that's like a theme throughout the whole series. Like when Talos starts talking to everybody. And
oh, that was so bad.
some of you may have been found during an infinite crisis at a flashpoint in your time. It was the 0 hour.
And there were many of you might be from kingdoms yet to come, and you're like,
God.
oh fuck.
No,
Night has not fallen. It's the death of Superman.
I say he says a kingdom that will never come.
Which is
Thank you.
sad.
Yes.
The writing was fine.
Aside from that little bit, I really have no quarrels with the
Yeah.
story.
Yeah, the characters were all written kind of consistently, so it worked out for me.
I agree. And how about this? For me, the consistency, I have no idea. But for the spirit that they were and what I got off of them, it made sense. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? And I wasn't like, you're literally just reskinning a character.
Right.
You know, like Val Zod, I don't know, he harkened to the spirit of Superman,
Yes,
but
but
it
he's
wasn't
his own Superman.
it wasn't just him like Superman but with a different face essentially,
Right.
which I kind of dug. Like I thought that was really cool.
Yeah.
That part was the part we were talking about before. The narration was
Mm-hmm.
the cheesiest thing. It literally made me laugh aloud.
Oh, yeah, me too.
At the same time, like, if you don't know about these things, then you wouldn't necessarily catch on to that.
No, it's true.
I did.
But if you do, you're also like, okay, I know what I'm looking at.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're so used to Grant Morrison running the DC universe and having it be like, what does this mean? I have to. It was actually kind of a little bit refreshing to have it be quite on the nose like that.
And we were talking about this. I have like a theory,
Yeah.
and a theory that is based on nothing, because I literally don't know anything about the DC universe. Except
No, but you know,
things.
your theory is actually very DC. So it should work out.
My theory is that because we were talking about, he's like, why is this, like we were talking about why is this even happening?
Because like you're gonna make them fight. Like they're gonna fight, really? Like fucking Mortal Kombat?
Which is so like contrary to like what Brainiac typically does, because Brainiac's purpose is to like preserve cultures. He then usually destroys the rest of it.
Yes.
But like is to preserve a part of it.
Yeah,
So-
why would he make them interact or fight?
Right.
Like
and
that's
I'm
not
like,
very Brainiac.
I'm like, maybe something else is coming, and he is building the strongest team by making them fight.
Yeah, like he's,
That would be interesting.
He's like gonna build like an all-star team.
Kind of like Battleworld.
Right.
Kind of. Right? Yeah. But like that was my theory, was that something else is
Is coming.
Is coming.
There's gonna
That's
be like
impressive.
something bigger than
I don't know.
Brainiac. Or,
That's my theory.
That's
Yeah.
it's a very exciting theory if that's the
yeah.
case.
I hope that's true, and I'll bet it's a Legion of Darksides.
That's coming?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's all the dark sides from those
And
worlds.
all their Omega beams. No, I don't know. But, like, I love that theory. I think it was really cool. So you heard it here first. If we're right, ComicPOP. Thank you. Anyway, there you go. So what do we think? Is Convergence a pickup? Should you just stick with the tie-ins?
Honestly, I think it's working. I like where it's going. I'm excited about this title at least. The main Convergence.
Yeah.
Here's one thing I really don't like about it. It's $5 an issue.
Yeah.
Yeah, that kind of sucks.
For this title. For the main title, it's $5 an issue. For every other issue that's involved with it, that's the regular $4. It really bugs me that they're doing that they're pushing this, and you're not getting any more content
No.
in it.
Well, there wasn't much that happened in this issue.
Right? It's like that irks me. So from a financial standpoint, if you're interested in this, but like you're not like hell-bent on knowing what's happening, trade weight on it.
Oh, yeah.
And you know me, I hate
Or
to
just
say
stick
that.
to the one tie-in that you're really interested in.
Right,
Because
but
there's only
like-
going to be 2 of them.
Right, but for this title, you could follow it in the news for the time being.
Yeah.
Like, if you're really super into it, go for it. But if you're economically strapped right now, it's $5 an issue.
Yeah, stick to YouTube.
Keep watching comic.
But like at the same time, like of course, like I want people to support the industry.
It's true.
But like it just seems like
Just
a lot.
wait until the trades and then buy.
You want to support the industry, but you don't want to support the industry when they're being assholes.
I also how about this? I also don't know the digital price, and typically the digital price, at least in the Google Play Store,
In the Google Play Store, it's lower,
Is
but
it
in
a little
Comixology,
lower?
it's not.
in the Google Play Store. Did you check
In
that?
Comixology, it's
Oh, okay. Check in the Google Play Store. Sometimes it's a little less expensive, and that way you can still support the industry.
Yes.
But you know,
But send a message that says, like, I shouldn't have to pay
Yeah.
this much.
I
get the industry's in trouble. I get that the industry will always be in trouble. But, come on. So pick up Convergence number 1 if you want to stay on board, if you want to know what's going on.
Mm-hmm.
But if you want to save some money, I'd suggest, and I think we all suggest, wait for the trade.
wait for the trade or check it out digitally in different places.
And keep watching our coverage of Convergence.
That's right. Yeah, if you want to save your money entirely, watch ComicPOP. And for our Convergence tie-ins this week, we decided to do Convergence Superman number 1, written by Dan Jurgens with art by Lee Weeks. Initial thoughts of Superman number 1?
This issue kind of let me down.
I loved it.
I also loved it. But then again, I've been waiting for real Superman to show up for the last 4 or 5 years. So it was great to see him!
Yeah.
And I thought that it took the concept of Convergence in a great direction.
Yeah.
And really fit in with the format. I hate tie-ins. We all know I hate tie-ins. And this whole event is nothing but
They're
tie-ins.
calling them minis.
Yeah, well, they're
Because
not.
they're only 2
tie-ins.
issues each.
It's true, they are. And
Ooh.
I like that idea. Yeah, it's only 2 issues.
Like,
Well,
so-
that's not so bad.
Right.
So there'll be 2 Superman books, and there'll be 2 Batgirl books, and there'll be 2 Atom books, and there'll be 2
Speed Force
Titan
books. and
books.
so
That makes
forth.
the tie-ins much more tolerable.
Yes.
Right?
And it makes them kind of essential, especially if you like really like the character or really want to see what Convergence is going to do with the
and there's
character.
only going to be 2 months of them.
Now, does that mean that you're only getting that particular character from one particular universe? Or are
Yeah.
you going to get, like, Superman #1, but then you're also going to get like Red Sun Superman #1.
No, that's going to be a totally different thing. They saved only certain cities, so like pre-Flashpoint Metropolis, I guess is doomed, but pre-Flashpoint Gotham is still there, and for some reason,
Superman's in it.
Superman and Lois were on assignment in. Fine, you know what? I'll take it if I can have old Superman back.
Like that's a believable part of the story.
I get that. I mean, like, you know what? It felt a little contrived, but like I took it. I want it.
I love the fact that he took on essentially being like Batman. He's like, if Batman can do this, I can do this.
Right.
And I love the fact that Lois became Oracle.
Yes, because in this universe, because every city's in a dome, the dome was blocking out the sun, so Superman had no powers. So Superman decides to don a costume and fight crime because he can't help himself. He's Superman. And rather than being what comics tend to do with like female, supporting characters, especially like marriages or girlfriends, instead of her being like, Superman, you can't, you have a child on the way, she's like, let's do this. She's Lois Lane.
Yep.
Now Oracle.
Now there are two great parts to that.
Okay.
One, the fact that Superman, because the dome is over them, Superman is depowered.
Yeah.
He's essentially human. He can't fly. He doesn't have super strength, which poses a lot of problems for him. But also allows him and Lois to have a baby.
Right.
Yep.
Holy crap, that's cool.
And I liked that plot point because they've always toyed with the idea of Superman having a kid and the idea of him like having however long, like a year or so. I think that's the amount of time that passed under the dome.
Now, it's an interesting part of that because that means Lois can't go out and help Superman. It's a weird thing for me because it's like, no, well, we need her to stay at home and be Oracle. How are we going to do that? Well, she's not crippled. She's pregnant.
Right.
No, I don't think it's that. I think because they've been married for a while at this point, right? In that universe? Yeah. Okay. So for me, that's like, she's like, no, like, this is my chance.
Right. I think like, for them, she's like, you know what? You have no powers. You're not going to blast
a hole
in my uterus. Maybe we can actually like start a family, and then when you eventually get your powers back, because we all know this is the DC universe, you're going to get your powers back, at least you'll have a kid.
Here's my question. Genetically, that child's still part Kryptonian. Yes. Now that the dome is removed, what's going to happen?
The baby like blasts her.
So we're expecting, right?
Except the fact that she is almost due anyway.
Yes, she'll probably just have the kid, and then the kid will have superpowers.
Right, you know what I mean?
Just
like,
keep her in the dark.
Right.
Don't go out in the sun at all.
So, what do we think of the art for this book? I thought it was great.
It worked really well.
Yep, I loved
it. And you know what? You have a classic, old school, like kind of 90s writer like Dan Jurgens, who's also an artist. He drew, for you guys, The Death of Superman. So, he drew that. And he's a classic Superman and Booster Gold artist. And it would have been very easy to have him do this, but they went with a more modern artist.
Yeah.
Which I think is really interesting.
I like that.
And I think Weeks knocked it out of the park. He captured their emotional moments. He captured the action. He captured their characterization. Like, I think it looked great. It was a great looking book.
It was. The art worked very well.
I'm glad we jumped on board with Superman #1 with this week, because #1, I wanted to see where Superman was going to be. #2, it was a really quality book.
Right? And like, I really like the fact that he springs into action.
I didn't like the fact that Superman was suddenly saved miraculously at the beginning because the dome is gone.
Right.
I would have liked to see him get hurt a little bit first, and then have him be on the ropes and holding his own, and then at the last minute,
the domes are dropped.
Yeah. I think that would have been better than just, oh, hey, here's a guy, flamethrower! Don't worry.
Oh, but powers came back right now.
I think you're reading that in your own way that I don't agree with.
That's fine.
Because the fact is, like, he's in this situation, and clearly, like, as Lois is telling you and talking to him, like, she's worried about him because he's a human being, and, like, he takes care of the guy, like, around him, you know what I mean? And then this guy shows up, and, like, he doesn't need to be on the ropes. He's literally about to die. What does it matter? On the ropes or not? Like,
I
love that reveal, him reborn out of flame.
That's true.
That could have worked, but I would have liked to see a little bit more beforehand.
I bought the variant cover, which is done by Chip Kidd. Now, I'm, like, if you don't want to listen to this, just skip to the end. This is literally going to be me geeking out over a graphic designer, because Chip Kidd is a graphic designer. He designs a lot of covers. He does comic book covers. He's also a comic book writer sometimes, but mainly for DC. He works with DC typically, but he's done a lot of amazing book covers. You know Chip Kidd from these. He also designed the All-Star logos for Superman and Batman.
Wait, does that mean he did Batman and Robin the Boy Wonder?
Well, he designed...
He did the logo. He didn't pick the art. They sent the art over. He just designed the logo.
No, I just meant the logo that was like Batman and Robin the Boy Wonder!
Yeah, he did that. He's done, he did a Shazam cover. He's done like there was like that Peanuts like anniversary book. He did that.
Yeah.
But you probably know him without knowing him as the man who designed the Jurassic Park. He did the book cover with the dinosaur.
Wow. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then they took that dinosaur, put it onto the movie logo.
Like
God damn.
for me, he's like does mind-blowing book covers. There's a great TED Talk with him where he goes into the details of how he works through these things.
Put a link in the description box down below for you.
Oh my god. All right, hang on. I'm just geeking out. I'm geeking out. Okay, so I picked this up mainly because of the fact that like it was Chip Kid. I was like, I'm getting that. Okay, here's why these are significant. Okay, I read an interview with him about these. All right. Okay, so come on in, everybody. So this cover here is for the first issue of this. Issue 2 will have the blue on this side of the cover and Superman emerging from the Convergence, right? Okay, so that's cool because it's him being pulled into it and then coming out of it. You can hang them on your walls, side by side, there you go. Number 2, that's cool, okay. There are 4 weeks in the month, correct? And these will be running for 2 months. The first month's covers, each of the Convergence tie-in titles have blue. The following colors that'll go through the month, I don't know the order, but the following colors will be magenta, yellow, black, the 4 printing colors. They will tie in for each week. So when you go back to the comic book store to pick up month 2, you'll be able to tell the blue covers that corresponded with the previous week.
Oh, that's cool.
Right? So
It's very coordinated.
yeah, all the Superman titles this week, Adam, Batgirl, there was a couple
Speed
of
Force.
that came out this week for the
Harley.
tie-ins have the blue. And then the next week's covers will have a different color. I was blown away. And they approached him with this like a year ago.
They pitched this idea, or he...
No,
made that?
they came to him, I think it was almost a year ago. So they've actually been doing this longer than you might think. They have been planning for this. If that's, he said that it was, maybe it was 8 months ago. I don't know, it was a while ago. And they said, we're going to need you to do 80 covers.
Yeah.
And he was like, he's like, you need to understand, I don't have a design assistant. I do this all on my own. But they said that because like he's worked with like he blows up like the art that they've done. They're like, all right, here's what we're gonna do to help you out, and they gave him a limited selection of art for each of the books, having to do with what was going on in the book.
Wow,
that's cool.
So then he went through and he selected the art, and then he created this concept. He presented because this was Dan Didio's.
Yes.
This was his concept was to use this art. Like so he came on board with it and then Chip took it and, funneled it into something that's this, right? And he presented them with 160 covers.
Holy
you
shit.
give them 2 different options for each of the covers.
I'm surprised they didn't use them all.
And this is what we have.
That's cool.
So wait, there's a variant to the variant?
Technically, yeah. Because it says 1 of 2 variant cover designs by Chip Kidd.
Shit.
So
That's cool.
So I thought this
and
was...
are we looking at a image from a future book that has that Superman in it?
No, I think this is established art already.
Okay.
Like, this is art they pulled, I believe. That was what I got from the interview. I could be wrong about that, but that's just how I interpreted what he was saying in the interview. But I think the concept for the cover is cool. He's trying to, summarize in the covers what this convergence is kind of about.
Right.
Like, going into it, something happens, and coming back out of it. And I love using the color coding to help maybe someone just coming into this as a new reader.
Oh, yeah.
Brilliant!
Yeah, that's a brilliant way to use
Love
variants
it.
as well.
I love it.
Yeah, I like that too.
Very cool.
That's cool. I also was just really drawn to that cover.
Yeah, the cover is cool. Again, it's because it's your simple CMYK.
Yeah.
So he just went with the...
That's cool too, to pay homage to the printing
Yeah.
books.
Right?
So there you have it, guys. That was Convergence #1 and Convergence Superman #1 from Off the Rack. Next week we'll be continuing our Convergence coverage with probably Convergence #2 will be next month. So we're gonna just do nothing but tie-ins for Off the Rack.
That's awesome.
This time.
Yep.
And for you Marvel fans, stay tuned for another Marvel special that I'll put right here. So we'll see you guys next time. Thanks a lot for watching. I'm Sal.
I'm Tiffany.
And I'm Ben.
Don't forget to like and subscribe. It helps us out a lot. And we'll see you guys next time. So long. And happy conversions to you.
Ooh.
Happy convergence to you.
Well, thank you.
Yeah, they really should have a timeline
Yes.
to show me where all these crises and flashpoints and...
Yeah, they're not going to do that.
Oh.